Welcome to Backstage 421, the musicians only podcast, with your host, author, and music lover, Charles Campbell. Charles will have an awesome array of guests from many genres of music, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. By the way, Ray Mattis is the composer of this awesome intro music.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Backstage 421. I am your host, small town horror author and music lover, Charles Campbell. And today I have a very special guest, a guy I've admired for a little while. He got the incredible opportunity this past couple months ago to play with one of my all-time favorite artists. You guys, if you know me, you know who I'm talking about. He got to play with Gin Wigmore. And I want Joe to tell me all about that during this podcast. But welcome to the show, Joe Walsh.
Hey, how are you? Not the Eagles Joe Walsh. We should clarify that right at the start, as I have to do with most interviews.
Well, it's funny you say that, and I think you even mentioned that. I did a Facebook promo post, and one of my friends went crazy. Oh, you have Joe Walsh coming, and then the young Joe Walsh.
Yeah, it happens. It happens for sure. Yeah.
That's all right, man. Well, I really enjoyed you from afar, and I've seen some of the things that you've done over the course of Jen's tour. But what I want to dive into is Joe.
Yeah.
If you could let me and the listening audience know just a little bit more about your background and kind of how you got into music and became a musician.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Ireland. Grew up in Belfast. And had really, really young parents, like outrageously young parents, like teenage young, and who were just mad into music, like incredibly into music, massively into David Bowie and T-Rex, and just real, when music was really firing, and they were so young, soaking up music at the age I was, but I was around at that stage for them, so they just like listening to records at night and stuff. That was just like a normal day to me as a child. So just became enamored with music. And then I guess probably 14 or 15, just really started to play guitar a bit more serious and got away from sports. I think all kids at that age wanted to play, well, where I come from, you wanted to play Gaelic football or soccer. But yeah, I just fell in love with the guitar side of things. And so, yeah, I guess 18 or 19, I did what we call Aussies, Kiwis, Irish and stuff call it your OE, which is your overseas experience. It's not really an American thing, I don't think, but you get a chance to get like a 1-year visa, like a working holiday visa. If you're Irish, you can go to Australia for a year, or you can go to New Zealand for a year and you can work. So a lot of people do that and vice versa. So I went to Australia when I was 18 or 19 and just fell in love with the culture of playing music live. Got a gig playing in some pubs and fell in love with the Aussie and Kiwi music when I was not really open to it in Ireland, wasn't hearing anything like that, and I just fell really in love with it because I think music in the UK and Ireland had become quite diluted at the time. It was sort of that Stock Aitken and Waterman sort of thing was coming in. I don't know if you're party to that, but that sort of Kylie Minogue and Rick Astley.
Oh,
and
yeah,
overproduced.
absolutely.
So
Yeah.
I wanted to be Slash or or something like that, and that had sort of passed on. So I found all this music in Australia and New Zealand that I loved, and I ended up back in Ireland anyway after my visas ran out, and was playing music in an Australian Kiwi bar in Dublin in Ireland, believe it or not, because I'd fallen in love with the music. So I had this gig playing all these songs of people I would meet later in life, which was crazy. But and what came from that was getting some support slots opening for big Aussie and Kiwi bands. And I opened for a band called The Exponents, who are a New Zealand band who I'd never heard of at the time. And we instantly just hit it off as friends. Jordan, the singer, is pretty iconic over here. And Brian, the guitar player, me and him just clicked, and that sort of led to, that was 2005, and that led to a lot of late night drunken phone calls, late night in Ireland, early morning here, early morning
Right.
there, late night here, that sort of thing. And Jordan was, as I say, was a singer in a band called the Exponents, but he was they were sort of ending, and he was going to carry on that flame but not use the Exponents name. So he started a band called the Jordan Luck Band, which was basically playing all the Exponent songs and carrying on the touring and everything. And the premise of the Jordan Luck Band was that everyone in the band had been in a band or an artist that had opened for the Exponents along the way. So I sort of was asked, did I want to come to New Zealand? And the adventure in me just said, fuck yeah. I don't know. Can I swear on this, Charles?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Absolutely,
Um,
absolutely.
so yeah, and my girlfriend at the time in Ireland, who's
Did you
now my
hear
wife.
Jen's podcast? I'm just cutting you
Yeah,
off. She
well, yeah.
swore,
I
so
mean,
yeah, you're good.
the issue there is you could have told Jen not to swear and should have swore right through it
Yeah,
anyway. So
well, she relaxed after that because she was trying to be all prim and proper, and I said, "Cut that shit out. Just talk like we're free."
yeah.
And then she
So
opened
yeah,
up.
my girlfriend, who's now my wife, Jen, didn't need a visa to come to New Zealand because she's Australian. So we just up sticks, have guitar, will travel sort of thing. Came here in 2006 and been in the Jordan Luck Band ever since, and formed my own band, Ekko Park, which is basically just my own songs and my own outlet of my own music. But my real sort of career has always been playing guitar for other people. So yeah, that's how I found myself in New Zealand and instantly fell in love with it over here. Like, I've traveled all over the world since I was 18 or 19, all through Europe. I've been all over the world, but never really got attached the way I did straight away to New Zealand. Just really, Brian from the JLB would say it's like a kindred spirit thing. I just sort of
Right.
found where I put my feet down here and felt like home straight away. And yeah, I've been here now coming up on 17 years, and
Oh, nice.
yeah, it's just life changing in every way, from you know musically and just growing up and finding my feet as a person and everything. I think it's just New Zealand has brought all that out in me, really.
Well, I tell you, I will give you this big kudos. You win the award for the best backdrop of any of my podcasts. I love the backdrop. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So this is
So
we're on a little island, about 40 minutes off the coast of New Zealand. I live in a little island called Waiheke. Jen's
um,
mom lives out here, actually, believe it or not. So during this
nice.
tour, we had a few good days on the island with Jen and her mom, and Davey came over and stayed with us here. So yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful spot. We've been here about 5 years now. I think we've lived on this Waiheke island. Yeah, so about 40 minutes off the coast from Auckland.
That's nice. That's really nice, and I love the surroundings. I just love it.
Yeah,
It's,
it's very peaceful. It's cool. It's lovely.
yeah, well, I like peaceful.
Yeah,
My wife and I we're going on a vacation to a very peaceful beach. It's not crowded. It's
nice.
really where old people go, but it's a Gulf beach in the United States. It's in
Oh,
Venice,
cool.
Florida. But I say it's where old people go, but I'm turning into one of those old people, so
Aren't
that's
we
all
all?
right. Well, tell me a little bit about Ekko Park because I want to get into your music, and then I definitely
Yeah.
want to talk about the tour with Jen and what you've done with
Yep.
her. But I want to talk about Joe and tell me about Ekko Park and what I can,
So
where I can find your stuff.
yeah, basically, it delved from me when I was doing those acoustic support slots for the Exponents and Jimmy Barnes and those guys I mentioned. It was basically me playing my songs that I had written acoustically. Um, but I'd always loved the idea of being in a band, even if you're the sort of chief songwriter. But like, it not, I just wanted to be. I just loved bands. Like I loved the idea of being part of a tribe or something. When 20 years ago or whatever, when I was starting out, I just felt like I didn't want it to be about me. I wanted to be in a band. So when I moved to New Zealand and had some sort of stability here and really got thrown into the music community, I was surrounded by musicians here. So I was able to sort of take those Joe songs and elevate them to band songs and bounce them off people. And so that's what sort of became Ekko Park. And that's what's still going today. I mean, we've had a couple of lineup changes from the early days, but been pretty steady now for a few years. And it's just evolved. Again, it's sort of been I bring the guts of the songs in, or the skeleton of the songs in. But Nick, the drummer, has been in the band for like 10 years. Brian, actually from the Jordan Luck Band, plays guitar, but he plays bass with Ekko. So it's a whole different outlet for him as well. So it's basically just our little rock and roll outlet of getting different songs out there. So we've got Jessie on guitar, who's amazing female guitar player here. So really exciting to play with different bunch of musicians, and we've done pretty well. I've been up for Rock Band of the Year a couple of times here and stuff in New Zealand. So we've been ticking along really well and releasing quite a lot of music, and we've done 3 albums. But yeah, it's not on the scale of Jordan Luck Band or Gin, but it's just a awesome band to be part of, and we're just doing our thing, shall we say? But it's great. I love that, especially I think what excites Brian from the Jordan Luck Band is he's not doing his guitar thing in Ekko, so it's exciting to him. And for me, playing a style of guitar with Gin and a style of guitar with Jordan, it's completely different in Ekko, so it's a completely different outlet for me. So it's really, everything's exciting, you know. There's nothing.
It keeps things fresh, right?
It's fresh and exciting and different. All 3 of my current musical outlets are very different, so it is fresh is a good word for it. It's really exciting, and yeah, it's awesome. Keeps me inspired, shall we say.
Well, this is a question I ask authors and musicians, especially songwriters. And I'm not sure what your experience is in the songwriting aspect. I'm sure you have a lot of experience in that realm. So I want to ask you this question: what is your process when you put a song together, from writing it to getting it to the listener? Do you have a standard flow you follow, or is it different every time?
Not really. It's kind of strange for me. I think I'm not technically trained, so I don't have the technical, that sort of classical technical ability to say teach guitar. I couldn't do that.
Right.
I don't have that training. I mean, I think I have the knowledge to a degree, but I don't have the knowledge on a technical level to be able to write music down or read music or whatever. So for me, it can be as simple as reading a book, especially. Like I might read a line and it'll be like, wow, that it could become a part of a lyric or something, and I'll pick the guitar up. And I'm not someone who can. I know musicians who'd be like, right, in 3 weeks' time, we're going to go and book a house and we're going to go and write songs. I was like, no, that's, there's no way I could do that. I just couldn't do that. But I could be sitting on the ferry, I could be on a plane, and an idea will come. And I think what I meant by not being trained is I don't need to. I just hear things in my head. I don't need to break them down technically, if that makes sense. Like I can hear
You're similar
a song
to a lot of authors and myself.
Right. I can hear a melody, or I can hear a chorus, and I'll sing it into my phone, or even drum beats. Me and Nick have a great synergy with Ekko. Like I can hear a drum beat, and if I can get that out of my head and Nick starts playing, I can play over it. So I don't really have a set way of doing it. I'm sure it probably infuriates the more technical guys in the bands I'm in bands with, because I try to explain what's in my head and they look at me like I've got 2 fucking heads. Like, and especially the 2 bands like Jordan, Brian, especially in the Jordan Luck Band, and Davey in Gin's band are like the conductors. Like both bands are the conductors, and both unbelievable.
Fucking
just
Dave's
how they
amazing,
see.
man.
Oh, dude, just how he sees a song is so much different to me, and it's been such a great learning curve for me. And him and Brian are very similar, like incredible backing vocalists, incredible guitar players. So I sort of come in and sit under that, and I guess I'm the engine of things and keep things driving along, which I really excel at. But like trying with songwriting, it's different for me because I don't have that the way Mark does or Dave does to sort of get technical about it. A song just comes. It's just be like, yeah, that's
you
cool for
have
me.
something though, because I'm very similar in the way that I write. I don't outline. I have a beginning and an end, but I want to bring up something because it reminded me of something. You said you could, read a book and see a line in a book. Well, Jen released a little single a few years back. I don't know if you've heard it. I Know I Will Die in the Silence.
Right?
Yeah. And I listened to that and I have the little vinyl and I said, that would be a great fucking title of a book. And it spun in
Yeah.
my head, spun in my head, spun in my head. And I released I Know I Will Die in the Silence, The Buryman, in 2018. And the idea for that book came from that song,
Wow. Yeah.
so it's
Yeah.
very similar because
A
it's
big one. A big one for me that I've done for years is to I find a movie that I love that really touched me or really affected me. I put myself in the position of one of the characters and sort of, and I don't follow the arc of the movie or the book. I sort of go, well, this is what I might do, or this is what I thought was going to happen. So, like, case in point, one of the singles off our last album was called "Uh Oh," and it sounds like a pop punk song, but the lyrics actually from a movie called Three Billboards outside of Ebbing, Missouri, which is an amazing American movie. And I was so blown away by the movie. It's probably I think I've done this twice in my life, but I walked out of the cinema and walked straight up to the ticket office and bought another ticket, and I went straight back in and watched it again. So I watched it
oh
twice in a
wow.
row. And the second time I wrote the lyric, but the song sounds like a happy little pop punk song, but it's actually "Uh Oh," and the character is like deciding the character has decided he's going to kill someone, and he feels he's righteous in it. It's like a vengeance killing, and
Right.
he's going to kill this person because he feels like this person doesn't deserve to live because of the crimes this person's committed. So I sort of put myself in this situation in the car where he's talking about this at the end of the movie. He's like sort of going, we're gonna go and kill someone here, and I thought, what a fucking mad arc to be in. So I was like, right, I'm going to put myself in this position. So I'm contemplating killing someone in that song, and all people are singing along to it and going, oh, and it sounds like a fucking Blink 182 song or something. But the lyric is me deciphering how I'm going to go and kill someone. It's fucking mad. But
Oh,
I love
dude,
that. I love that
I
sort
have
of.
got to hear that. So can I
Yeah.
find that on can I
Yeah,
find
there's a
it?
video for that on YouTube. Yeah, it's called "Uh-Oh,"
Okay.
UHOOH. Yeah, but it's
Yeah, and
basically like it's an amazing movie. If you haven't seen the movie, definitely watch it.
I have
It
not. I
feels,
jotted it down when you said it, so
yeah,
I'll definitely check it
it
out.
feels like one of those movies that um, moves along like you're reading a book. I don't feel like I'm sitting watching a movie per se. You get really pulled into the characters and stuff. It's amazing. Yeah, it's a beautiful movie.
Well, it's awesome, man, because if it compelled you to get up immediately and buy another ticket and walk right back
Yeah,
in, that's
it was amazing. Yeah, that was
that that
really,
is that's something.
yeah.
So I'm going to bring this up to the audience. I have been favoring Kiwis a lot since I've met Jen and become a
Yeah.
big fan. And I've had a few on the show, and I had Mario Greger on a few weeks
Mm-hmm.
ago,
Yep.
the awesome tattoo artist. So,
Yep. It's on
it,
my leg.
yep, and I was going to bring that up. So, what brought you into the Jen tribe? How did you connect with Jen? And
So the I've this is a mad thing. I've been such a huge fan of Jin's music. I think even like in a couple of my yearly, I do like a thing Facebook or whatever at the end of the year, favorite albums. I think Ivory was my favorite album of 2018, and um, I just I just love their music. But I've actually known Davey for years and years and years, but we'd never played in the same band together. Um, But what actually happened was we're talking. Um, I'm going to say 2020. 21 was cancelled. No, 22 was cancelled. So no, 2021. It was 2021. When New Zealand had completely closed its borders and we got COVID down to zero. Um, we basically, so our summer is your winter. So we basically had our summer touring season. So all the big concerts, all the big winery gigs, all the big outdoor festivals all happened. We were the only country in the world that were having, 20,000 people at concerts and stuff. So Gin, Jin came back to New Zealand with Jay and the kids because of a winery tour here called, it's not even a winery tour, it's called the Greenstone Tour. Amazing annual tour here that normally has big international acts. Like I think last year was like Billy Idol and Stone Temple Pilots, and they've had like all sorts of huge artists. But that particular year, they kept the tour going, but it was only Kiwi acts. For the first time ever, it was only New Zealand artists because we were all here and the borders were closed. But
Right.
Jin was obviously able to come in because she's Kiwi, and Dave was able to come in. So and they did the quarantine and all that sort of stuff. So what actually just one of those sliding doors movement moments, Charles, was it went from I think there was some Aussie acts possibly going to be on the bill, and then it was like, no, the borders are completely closed. So it ended up being Jordan Luck Band, Gin Wigmore, and a few other big Kiwi artists. So it went from being a big international festival to a New Zealand artist festival, and Gin was headlining it. So we ended up doing some shows together, and then I think she just saw me on stage with Jordan, and Dave Dave had to go back to New York, and it was impossible for him to get back. It was a big show at a festival that Jen really wanted to do in Wellington, which was, I'm going to say, like 4 or 5 weeks after that Greenstone tour. So
Right.
she
Dave couldn't
stayed.
stay. Yeah.
Dave couldn't stay in New Zealand. He had to go back to New York. So at one of those shows, Dave said, "Fuck, man, could you jump in for me in this gig in Wellington?" And I got chatting to Jen, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I think you'd be cool for this." So it was a festival called Peachy Keen, and it was at a really iconic um, cricket, what they call a cricket oval here, like a football stadium, but it's for cricket in Wellington. Really old, beautiful old stadium, and it was completely. Um, all the acts were female leads. All the crew were female. It was one of a kind sort of thing. It was the first one. So
Yeah.
Jen obviously really wanted to be involved in that. So she stayed on, and Dave went back, and I jumped in for that gig. So I was initially in just for one gig, but I had such a blast, man. It was such a different way of working for me, and musically and
Right.
playing. I've been in the Jordan Luck Band now for 14, 15 years. And I'm not a session musician or anything. I haven't played with anyone else. So
Right. Right.
it
Right.
was just jumping in. And because Jen had seen me play with Jordan, she knew sort of what I was about on stage and how I sort of fucking let myself go crazy up there and play. So she was kind of like, yeah, just come and do that with me, and we'll do some rehearsals and see how it went. So we did that gig, and it was awesome. And I felt really comfortable in it, felt really on, like I felt like I was right for those songs, so it was fucking really, really cool. Made a great night. And then that was that. And then the tour then got announced for the next March, but that was
Well,
the one that
thank
got,
you, Dave, for having to fly to New York. That was awesome.
yeah, yeah. Dave was kind of like, I want you to play really well, but I don't want you to play really fucking well. And I was like, okay, Dave, I got you. um, but yeah, it's strange because I'm a different guitar player to Dave, so there was a bit of yeah, kind of finding our feet with the songs. But Jen's really into vibe on stage and stuff, and I knew I could deliver once I'd sort of got my head around where she saw my place being in the band for that show. But then so I believe that the tour we just did was supposed to happen last year, and then it fully got cancelled because COVID did get us really bad in New
That
Zealand.
is
So that
correct, because we were gonna
yeah,
talk about that in the podcast. That's how I was promoting it. We're gonna talk about our upcoming tour, and
yeah,
then, Diane reached out to me and said, "There's no tour, but she's still coming on your podcast." I said, "Well, thank
yeah,
you."
yeah. So I think that's what happened, and then so yeah, we just stayed in touch, and Dave was coming down for this whole tour, so we just basically talked about it, and she was like, "Yeah, I'd love you to come and do more shows." I was fucking all about it. Yeah, absolutely, it was amazing. So yeah, and obviously the first show was kind of strange because Dave wasn't there. He's the conductor of all things Gin on the stage, so it was a it was a completely different experience this whole tour because Dave was there. It was kind of like I felt part of it probably a bit more
You
because
probably felt more relaxed too, I
yeah,
would assume.
Dave,
Yeah,
yeah, because you know that Dave's keeping the fucking train on the tracks, so you can sort
you
of
can
meld into
let
it a bit more.
loose.
It's
Yeah.
great. Yeah, yeah. So that's probably a long-winded way of
No, no,
telling
no,
you how
no.
I got
No,
onto it.
that's perfect, because I wanna know a little bit more, and we're definitely gonna get back into Joe-centric stuff, but, I wanna tell you, I wanna know how you met up with, Mario. I talked to Mario a little bit on the podcast. He told
Yeah,
me the story, but, I love
that's
that guy,
fucking
man.
mad. Yeah, what
He's
a cool
fucking
cool guy.
dude,
Yeah,
I don't have any ink on my body, and I would love for him to put ink on my body.
yeah.
Uh,
I'm like Jen. I'm
yeah.
covered in
Oh,
this
yeah,
stuff. So
yeah, man. But so
yeah.
tell me how you guys connected with Mario, because I'm kinda jealous of Mario, man. That was pretty amazing. He got an amazing experience.
So I think it stemmed from he did an amazing portrait of Jin on someone, right?
Oh, yeah,
Isn't
Stu. He's on our fan
right?
page. His name is Stu.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I believe that's maybe where I
Yeah.
like. I was more honestly, dude. I was head down into learning these songs, and then fucking Jen goes, "Oh, Mario's coming to Homegrown," and I was like, "Awesome, can we book in with him or something?" She was like, "Oh, we'll just get him to tattoo us backstage." I was like, "Fuck, this is mental. This is crazy." And Homegrown was a bit wild. It's a huge festival here. It's like one of the two biggest in the country. Rhythm and Vines would be the other big one, which is New Year's Eve. But
Right.
Homegrown's massive, like 5 stages, thousands of people. But there was just you could just feel leading into Homegrown, we were really up for it. The Jen and us were really, really fucking up for it. So I was really focused on the gig. Just it was going to be what we call a throw and go as well. There was no sound check or anything, so it was just like get up there and do your shit. So it was
Yeah.
those can go one of two ways. They can either fucking you start off the tracks and you just keep going off the tracks, or you just fucking jump in with 2 feet and you start swimming and ultimately you
So
win
am
the
I hearing
race.
you say it
Hopefully,
could be really fucking amazing, or it could be a shit show?
yeah, they can be exactly. They can be. It can go exactly one of two ways. I always feel those gigs, but we were fucking amazing. It just felt like it from the start. It just felt like one of those really amazing gigs. So I was backstage again. I think it was writing set lists or something, and then Mario comes in. I'm like, "Fuck yeah, you're the tattoo guy!" And we got chatting, and his partner was there. Um, and then the next thing we got the call for stage. Um, and then Jen's like, "Oh no, I remember what happened now. Earlier in the day, Jen's like, we can't really get tattooed." Backstage was like revolving
Right.
dressing rooms.
Too much
So
stuff going on.
it wasn't going to work. So I was like, I just fucking give him my room key. So he fucked off to my room and set up all his tattoo stuff and everything while we
Nice.
were getting ready to go on stage. And then he came back for the show, saw the show, and then the next thing we're all back at my room and I'm getting tattooed, and then Jen got tattooed, and then Davey got tattooed.
That is
It was
fucking
fucking
amazing,
madness.
man.
It was
That is
madness.
awesome.
It was so
God,
crazy. Yeah.
I would have loved to have seen that up close,
It
man.
was
That is
it,
fucking awesome.
it was wild. It was fucking it was so Jen though, you know. It's like it's I love that. Like she's just like, yeah, man, we'll just get fucking tattooed after the gig, sweet ass. I'm like, this is fucking amazing. Like
Nice.
so good. Yeah.
Oh
So
man.
cool.
Well, you've got tons of experience touring. I gather that.
Yeah.
So I just want to put you on the spot a little bit. Is there a story or two that sticks out in your brain that the listening audience may get a kick out of?
Fucking
And
hell.
it could be anything, man. You don't have to name names if you don't want to, but I want something juicy if you have it.
Um Jesus. Yeah.
I'm putting you on the spot. You can
No, I
think
mean,
about it.
there's, yeah, I'm trying to, a lot of stuff's quite relevant to New Zealand, so it might just be a bit weird, but,
Well, believe it or not, since I've had Jen on and all the Kiwis, New Zealand is my second ranked listening location.
oh no
So it's the
shit.
Yeah.
Very awesome.
So it's the United States is number one, and New Zealand is number two. Number three is Germany for
All
some
right.
reason. Number four
Cool.
is Australia. So
I think the
you're going to have
biggest,
Kiwis listening to this.
well, I love it. I'll put my thinking cap on and I'll come back to you with something juicy, but it's not going to get me arrested either. So.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, tell me, what are you working on now? Are you working on anything in the studio? Do you have anything that you're,
we've
collaborating
just
with a musician on?
released, we've just released the latest Ekko Parks single. We recorded all those before the Gin tour started. So the plan for that is we're going to release 4 singles over the next probably 6 months, I think. But then I'm away. I've got basically a couple of months, and then I'm back. And we've got an annual, what we call winter tour, August, September, October, happening with the Jordan Luck Band, where we do crazy amount of gigs and hit all these small little towns that we can't do in the summer because we do all the bigger sort of winery thousands of people gigs in the summer, but we take the Jordan Luck Band around all the small towns and do little bars, a couple of the venues that we did on the Gin tour as well. So that runs that usually every winter I'm fully in with that. So that runs from 17th of August all the way through to the 14th of October, believe it or
Oh
not.
wow.
So a lot of shows, yeah. Yeah. So that's what's coming up. Heading off to actually I'm going to see Jay's band, Jen's husband's band
Yeah.
in Tokyo. So I'm going over to Japan in July. So I'm going to see them at Fuji Rock in Japan.
I've seen some posts recently on Instagram. So is he getting ready to kick that off?
Yeah, I think they started with the new lineup just this past weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this is another question I ask a lot of musicians, and I think I asked Jen this question, and I'm sure I asked Brooke from French for Rabbits. If you haven't heard of them, go check them out too. Brooke
Yeah,
Singer is
awesome.
fucking amazing.
Yeah,
Love
so
her.
good.
Living or dead, what current musician, artist, band would you like to collaborate with, and maybe a musician that has passed who has left us that you would have loved to have worked with?
I absolutely fucking love Idols, actually. So I've got the t-shirt on, I can see. English band, I mean, I don't even know where I would fit in. I'd probably have to play fucking Triangle or something because I don't know where I would fit in. But I'd love to do something with Idols. I just think they're the most important rock band in the world right now. Um, and past, see, I'm a massive, huge David Bowie fan, but I think I would freeze. I would have nothing to give Bowie. He'd be like, get this fucking joker out of here. So I would have to say, who would I? Somebody that's passed, I would love to have played with. Do you know? I reckon Amy Winehouse would have been fucking awesome to tour with.
Oh, that's a great one. I love
Yeah,
Amy
playing
Winehouse.
guitar for Amy Winehouse would have been really cool. I reckon.
Man, her voice is so. I can hear it
It's
in my
just
head right now.
yeah, it's that natural ability. Jen's got it. It's
Yeah,
just
Jen's
that.
got it too, man.
Yeah, you just that ability to. It's like it transcends
Yeah,
trying to sing. They just open their mouth, and it's like we do this sort of reworked version of Hangover Halo on this tour, and just I'm playing pretty sparse acoustic on
yeah,
it on this tour, and so I can sort of take in everything because it's quite simple. I'm just sort of sitting on there, everything, and just watching Jen every night sing that. It's like fucking. It's
yeah. She did an
just
alternate version of that in the Moroccan Lounge. Um,
yeah.
I don't know if it was the same version you guys did, but it was
It's
an alternate
similar,
version.
yeah. We changed it up a little bit, just because of the style of players, I think. But
Right.
she also did this. She wrote a song about 2 or 3 weeks before the first show of the tour, which um, I think Dave really said to her that she should do it, and she did it every night, just her and an acoustic guitar, and it was like fucking hell, man. It's like it's amazing for me because I get to be part of it,
Yeah.
and then when she just sings by herself acoustically, I get to be a fan for those 5 minutes. It stands side of stage and just be like, "Fuck, this is unbelievable," you know?
Yeah, she fucking blows me away, man. Every
Yeah,
time I
amazing.
hear her. I told her on the podcast I'd listen to her sing the fucking dictionary, so I'm so biased.
Yeah,
It's fucking ridiculous.
it's just like it's that ilk of performer like Amy and Jen and those people that can just deliver vocals like that. I'm just totally in awe of. It's
Yeah,
unbelievable, amazing. Yeah, it can't be taught. I don't think it's there. You know. I mean, it
yeah.
can be nurtured and all that sort of stuff, but I think you have it or you don't right at the start. You know.
Exactly, exactly. I mean, like Amy and Jen's included, they don't even need an instrument. Their voice is their instrument. They could sing a cappella and people would fucking love it.
Yeah,
But the more stripped down
amazing.
it is, the better it sounds to me.
Yeah,
When
it's a great, that's amazing thing with Jen too. Like, there's like it's very different to. I was discussing this at the weekend. Actually, it's a very different audience. Um, to the Jordan Luck Band, Jen's audience is like there's a real journey with the show where you can go from like Kill of the Night where it's fucking chaos and it's
right,
everything's it's electric and it's big and Davey's off doing his stuff and I'm doing my
yeah,
stuff and it's massive and Jin's sort of fucking pushing that and it sounds massive and then you can drop right down to Hangover Halo and the audience are just go from like this is
oh
the
yeah,
last night on earth, this is fucking amazing, to like totally. There was a point where we did Hangover Halo in one of the little shows in Gizzy and it was just when we reintroduced the chorus after this sort of solo piece we put in, it was just fucking silent and like eerily silent. It was amazing. It just the whole level of it was just silent, and then Jen's waiting to come back in, and nobody's on their phones or any of that shit. Everyone was just so present, and it was like, fuck, what a gift, man. You gotta. Those moments are um, few and far between in the modern gigging world, I think, because I'm going to sound like the old man that you talked about earlier, Charles, but like the difference having phones shoved in your face compared to not having them is it's unbelievable. And Jen's audience is just like that. It's fucking amazing. It's they follow the arc of that she the waves
I,
of the gig that Jen puts you through. They follow it. It's amazing, really special. It's awesome.
it it absolutely is, and I've been fortunate enough to see her a handful of times and meet her a few times. So Yeah, you're right. A Gen audience is different for the
It's
most
awesome.
part. And
Yeah,
they're great shows. She never disappoints. And I'm so glad and happy for you that you got to go on that extended tour with her. Um,
yeah, it's
that was
amazing.
that was awesome. That was awesome.
Yeah,
So, what are some of the challenges you've faced as a musician coming up? I know you've had to have a few in your lifetime. I'm 54 years old, so I remember the old concerts where you could flick your Bic and hold them up in the air, and there were no
yeah,
phones.
yeah.
But for you, what are some of the challenges you face coming up as a musician,
I, I mean, it's
if
just
you have any?
yeah. No, I guess it's just everyone talks about the industry and the grind of it and all that sort of stuff. I mean, you gotta. It's really easy to be disheartened. I think like it's really you pour your heart and soul, and especially if it's just your own music, you pour your heart and soul into it, and um, I'd love to be doing big extended tours with Ekko. There's, but I guess you just yeah, I do it. I do. It sounds cheesy, but I do it for the love of it, and I'm really, really, really lucky that I've been able to do it in a way that is sustainable financially and with my life. So I've been really lucky with that, and I know it's finite. I know it doesn't. This doesn't go on forever. So I just love. I love every fucking second of it. To be truthful, I think Jordan said to me about fucking 15 years ago, he was like, "You play for the people that are there, not for the people who are not." And
Right.
you can see artists get. I've definitely seen it at some gigs where you know it might not have sold out, and the artist is pissed off from the minute he gets on stage to the minute he gets off, and you're like, "Fuck,"
I've seen some mailed in shows in my lifetime, and they suck.
yeah. But no, I've been really lucky, man. I've got no. I mean, the challenges are the challenges with anything, but it's kind of like I suppose the old question is, do you think you've made it? But what the fuck does that even mean? Like if you're not striving to keep playing and get better, and that's definitely one thing that's been amazing for me with Jen was the challenge of completely different structure of songs and the way she writes and um, just very different to Echo songs are very different to Jordan's songs. So I felt um, revigorated really.
Right.
Learning so many of Jen's songs because it's and it's probably inspired me with my own music or with Echo songs as well because it's just she she sees songs differently than I do and Jordan sees songs differently than I do, so you got to take little bits of that. Um, so I feel really definitely really lucky at this point in my career where I feel like I've had another branch to the tree, shall we say, with Jen because of um, as I say, being in the lane with the JLB for so long. It's amazing and refreshing to jump in head first into something like a Gin Wigmore tour, which was fucking amazing.
That was a great opportunity, man. I am super happy for you. I'm gonna
Yeah, it was
flip the
killer.
question. I'm gonna flip the
Hmm.
question a little bit. Um, and we can, if you want, we can exclude Jen because we know that's a highlight. But or you don't have to exclude Jen if you don't want to with this question. But what has been one of the biggest highlights of your musical career to this point? What's something you're super proud of uh, that you would like to share with the listening audience?
I think being able to travel. Um, I'm a traveler by nature. I love it, but being able to have seen so much of the world because of an ability of playing guitar, I think that's something that I can't take for granted in any way. I mean, I've played in China, I've played in Dubai, I've played in
Wow.
fucking some of the most random places in the world, amazing places, and um, I, that side of it is such a highlight for me. Being able to tour is fucking amazing. I mean, I've been really lucky. I've been up for awards and all that sort of stuff, but that's all sort of fucking superfluous, really. It's the
Right.
being able to, like, flying to fucking Dubai and there's an audience there waiting for you. You know, it's insane. It's fucking mad. It's crazy. Like we had some success in Italy with Ekko, and we did some shows in Italy, and I was just like, it's fucking mad. I'm in fucking Bassano del Grappa in Tuscany in Italy, and there's fucking mad bastards here. You know, getting me to sign T-shirts and stuff because I'm playing the
Oh,
guitar. It's like
sweet.
it's fucking amazing. You know, that side of things is really special. And you know, touring can be a grind and all that sort of stuff, but like it has to be a highlight,
Yeah.
doesn't it? It has to be a highlight to say you've been all over.
Oh,
Even
absolutely, man.
even in New Zealand, I'm really lucky with Jordan because we get to do really lengthy tours and go fucking everywhere in this country, and it's such a blast. Like you get in a van and away you go, and um, I guess being able to do that every year and many occasions going to the same places, but people still come out and the shows sell out. It's fucking amazing, you know.
Oh,
But I'm
man,
definitely I'm it probably comes back to what I was talking about not being technically trained. The studio side of things has never really meant a lot to me. So I wouldn't be
right.
like Davey or Mark or anything who would have real amazing studio knowledge and get the same buzz out of music in the studio. That was never for me. I recording and I've got better as I've got older. I do enjoy it and I do put my heart into it, but it was always recording was just a fucking vehicle for people to know the songs for me to go out and play them live. It
The
was
live
never,
experience is what you
yeah,
wanted. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
Dude,
like,
I completely get that shit because as
yeah.
great as albums and records and Jen's records, and I'm a big Garbage fan. I love a
Oh, awesome.
shit, dude. Shirley Manson's my freaking idol. Love her.
Wow.
Um,
Do you know of Goodbye, Mr. Mackenzie?
oh yeah, yeah, man, I know all that stuff. Yeah.
Oh, mate. That was one of the first CDs I bought with my own money. It was The Rattler by
Oh yeah.
Goodbye, Mr. Mackenzie, and I
Oh, by
saw
Amy
them.
Fish. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, Shirley's fucking awesome, man. I've been to
Yeah,
quite a
man.
few Garbage shows, but my point is, I love buying their records. I love buying their albums, listening to their CDs, but there is nothing that can replicate that live experience.
Yeah,
The live shows, as great as those records are, they can't compare to listening to real talent live on stage. It
yeah.
just blows me away. So I definitely get that experience. You can't
And
replicate
it's
that in the studio, and it's
yeah,
raw and
I
it's real.
definitely exactly, and I'm definitely in the camp where you know, as some bands get bigger, the shows get bigger, so they do less of them, shall we say?
Right.
You know, so you might find um, you know, some prominent bands in New Zealand here might do 5 or 6 gigs a year because they're absolutely fucking massive gigs. But that would do my head in. That if I had 5 gigs to look forward to in a year, I would that would be like I
Going
couldn't think
batshit
of
crazy,
anything
right?
worse. It'd give me the
Yeah.
same amount of money and
Spread the shows
say,
out.
look, you're gigging 200 nights of the year, or here's the same amount of money you're gigging 10 nights a year. I'd be like fucking 200 all day, every fucking day. You know, have guitar, we'll travel. See ya, gone.
Yeah, but well, I'm sure the high for me, and I don't experience that as a horror writer. The closest thing I can get is a good book signing, and I get a lot of people, and I sign a bunch of books. But as a fan, I can see it. Like when I've been to a lot of concerts, and when I'm really up close and can see the band and see the kind of, and this is going to sound cheesy, like you said a few minutes ago, you can see the light in their eyes just flicker.
Yeah, yeah,
And like fucking Dave, man, I love
yeah,
watching him at a Gin show.
yeah. Amazing.
My eyes gravitate to him a lot when I'm at a Gin
Yeah,
show because
Dave's amazing.
he
Yeah,
commands your attention, and it's
and compliments Gin so well too. You know,
oh
it's
yeah,
fucking it's killer, man. And that sort of shit is hard to find. You know, to find your person like that. Um, that person that works and
oh yeah.
understands
Well,
what you're
there's a
doing,
funny
especially as a
story.
solo artist.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, that when I talked to Dave during the podcast, they're playing the Bowery Ballroom, and it's on YouTube. You can find it. I think it was Kill of the Night, and it was on her birthday, and she fucked up the opening, and then said,
Yeah,
"Ah, yeah." I don't know if you saw the video, but it was hilarious. I
yeah,
loved it. That's why I love live shows because that kind of shit happens.
yeah. Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah. But that's it's the old fucking musician's cliches. You can rehearse all day and all night. It's when shit goes mad on stage, that's where you got to pivot, and that's where you earn your stripes, as they say.
yeah.
And it's great. I love a warts and all gig. Like when it's too perfect and too rigid, it loses something for me.
No, I love it. I love it. Like Shirley Manson at the Garbage Show in 2019, saw it in Atlanta. It was Parade. The song was Parade, and they hadn't played that live in forever. And she forgot the fucking opening lyrics, and she kept doing this and this and this, and she walked over to Duke and put her head on his shoulder, and he was whispering her. I said, "Okay," and then she went back and started it up again. So that kind
Awesome.
of stuff I love, man. I love that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely. It's awesome.
well, Joe, man, I have had a fucking awesome time talking to you, and I'm glad
Cool,
I finally
man.
got to meet you,
I hope
man.
wasn't waffling too much.
Oh no, no,
It's
no,
got
no.
it's
I'm
the
I'm the one
Irish
that
Irish in me. I'm just sitting talking shite.
shit, man. I fucking ramble all the time. I don't even know why I have a podcast, but it's
Awesome.
fun. I do it because it's fun, and I love talking to people
Yeah,
like you.
it's cool, man.
And I met Joe. I kind of met Joe on our Gin Wigmore fan page. So if you guys are interested in Gin Wigmore, we have a Gin Wigmore Bang Bang Baby Facebook fan page out there.
That's
You just
right.
have to a simple entry question. It's not difficult, and you can join. But Joe, I want to give you a few minutes. I kind of want to leave you with the last words before I sign off. I want you to share with people where they can find you, where they can pick up your music, if there's a location they can pick it up,
Yep.
any social media leads that you can put out there, and I'll put everything in the links below in the podcast. So I'm going to be quiet and let you speak.
Yeah. So Ekko Parks, spelled EKKO Park. Ekko Park. So you can find us on Insta or Facebook. Probably Insta is better. All our music's on Spotify and Apple Music. New EP was released maybe 10 days ago. New single, so that'll be up there. And yeah, you'll see me on the Gin fan page because I chat a lot on there. Ekko Joe, I think is my name. Or no, it's Joe Walsh just because it's Facebook. Yeah. And yeah, hopefully see me back on stage with Gin in the not too distant future. Fingers crossed.
That will be awesome. And
Yeah,
I've
man.
already talked to my wife. We were in serious discussions to try to make some of this tour you just had in New Zealand, but logistically we couldn't make it work. So if you guys get together again, we're going to try to make it work next time so we can fly
Oh,
out there and
cool.
catch a few shows. So that will
There was
be
a few
amazing.
few Americans came over for some of the shows. We got chatting to a couple that were on the fan page. They came to the last two shows in Lee. It was amazing. They'd come over
Nice.
from Colorado or somewhere, I think. It's incredible.
Yeah. Well, I meet people from the fan page in the U.S. At the shows. You know, they approach me and talk to me, and we talk about Gin. And I had another guy, a musician named Doug Worthen, on the podcast. Met him at the Pappy and Harriet show. So
Oh
I
yeah.
love meeting musicians, man. Love
Yeah,
meeting
cool,
musicians.
man. Awesome.
All right. Well, I am
Thank you
Charles
so
Campbell,
much.
author. Oh, you're welcome. I am Charles Campbell, author. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram under Charles Campbell, author. You can also find Horror 421, the podcast, on Facebook. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And I am so grateful to Joe. Thank you again for
Thank
coming
you.
on the show. We had an awesome time, and we'll catch you next time on Horror 421, Backstage 421, Musicians Only podcast. I host too many damn podcasts. You guys
Yeah.
have a good day.
We hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Backstage 421, the Musicians Only podcast. Be sure to tune in for the next episode. Please like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Listener support links can be found below. Thank you for your support.